Hi everybody, my name is Eric from Delmar Housing Projects, and today we're going to talk about really the most basic and critical function of your housing, and that is a proper seal with your O-ring. So we're going to show you how to do it right. We've got one of our new Guru housings. It's not quite finished, still has the controls to be put on for our buddy Matt for his 5D Mark II. But it's got its O-ring groove all set and ready to go, so we can show you how to do it. This is your O-ring, this is your O-ring groove. The first thing is to make sure that your O-ring groove is properly cleaned. Obviously for a brand new housing that'll be the case. And then to get your O-ring all set to go. So the trick is to just use your silicone lube and start getting your O-ring slippery. It should not be goopy, it should just have enough to be slippery. And once it's nice and slick in your hands, you can go ahead and drop it into place. And so to drop it into place, I usually like to start at the top. And once it's in the groove, it's pretty happy and it'll stay there. So you just need to work your fingers around the outside of the O-ring groove. And usually what I'll do is work it over to a corner, so you just have the little bit of the corner left, and then go ahead and drop it into place. So I'll double check that things are nice and slippery and everything's in place. And now time to put the port on. Obviously if we're going out and shooting, we'd be putting our camera in there and getting all set up. That's not the case for today. So putting the port on. And the first thing I like to do is just to get all the screws into place. Not ready to tighten them yet, but just getting them all in so they're ready to go. So we've got our 8 screws, and I'm going to start just tightening them down, just so they begin to engage with the port, with the acrylic port. It's always good to have a towel underneath if you're at the beach or on the seat of your car or wherever you're putting your housing together. Okay, so now I've got all my screws not yet tight, but they're just to the point where the top of the thumb screw is touching the acrylic port. So now we've got all the screws set into place, and now it's time to actually start compressing the O-ring. So the best way to do it is to do it in a star pattern. And so usually what I'll do is just do little 1/8 or 1/4 turns. If you've got 2 hands in your housing on a towel, then you can just kind of alternate and work your way around. And for the most part, you're just doing tiny little increments of tightness, and you're working your way around, and that's compressing your O-ring nice and evenly to keep your port nice and flat, so you're not stressing anything out apart from it should be. And you're really just getting to a point where it's finger tight, and as you start to tighten things down, you'll actually see a dark defined line within the O-ring that shows where the port is pressed up against the O-ring itself. And that visual seal is exactly what you're looking for, and exactly what you should triple check each and every time you use the housing. So now we're pretty good, and I'm just double checking that everything's snug. There's no reason to over crank your rivets. So that's the basic premise for tightening your O-ring down, and the key to look for is that deep dark line. And each and every time you use the housing, you know, take a moment. I don't care how good the waves are, but take a moment on the beach. Start at one point on the O-ring and follow that deep dark line all the way around your O-ring groove. And that's the one main thing to triple check. And then apart from that, you don't have to lube your O-ring every single time, but every single time you do use the housing, check to make sure it's lubed. So depending on how much you shoot, you know, every week, every month, you might need to dab a little bit extra on to keep your O-ring slippery. And then also, depending on if you shoot reef brakes or beach brakes, you do want to keep your O-ring groove very clean. And so from time to time, you can remove the O-ring, clean it out with a Q-tip, make sure it's all free of sand and debris, and you'll be all ready to go and have years of happy shooting. So hope that's helpful, and if you do have any questions, feel free to track us down on the web at delmarhousings.com, and we'll be happy to help you out. Thanks.